Welcome to another edition of Crime Time with DutyRon, and this guy, Ed Wallace, over here. Hey Ed, how's it going?
Good, Ron. How you feeling?
I'm feeling all right. I went to the office today, and here we are in our regular spot, and I'm trying to get back to normal. But there's only so much staying at home that you could do, and there's only so many free meals I could suck up from you. Thank you for that, Ed. Ed sent over a bunch of food on Tuesday night for the family, and it's greatly appreciated. That's what makes the NYPD and the brotherhood so great, and our friendship. So thank you so much for that, Ed.
Oh, my pleasure. My pleasure. So did they tighten up the nuts and bolts in there when they were in there?
There's a little screw adjustment on the side over here. I get to fix that every once in a while. My wife tweaks it, but I'm back. We're back to somewhat normal. But before we get into it, Ed, I want to say a special thank you to the Patreon supporters, the channel members, and all the folks who positively engage here on Crime Time with DutyRon. You guys are what makes this a great place. And I got to see when I was down and out with this surgery how many great people sent in messages. Ed got to see it when he had COVID-19 and, loss of family members. And you guys are full of nothing but love and just goodness. So thank you so much, guys and girls. We greatly appreciate you. Well, while I was waiting in the surgical suite on Tuesday morning, the news broke of the New York City subway shooter, the incident down in the subway. It was something that I wish that I could have covered and brought with, live to you guys. And Ed, I know you feel the same way, but we're going to just go over the week of a crime that we missed by me getting my head cut open. So we missed quite a bit of things. We missed quite a few things during the time I was down and out. We had the subway shooting, which was a major event. We had Lori Daybell Vallow, who was brought back from the mental institution and deemed fit for trial. We also are awaiting Marcus Manovello from the Cassie Carli case to be extradited back from his location right now into Florida. And we also had Kayla Montgomery, that's Harmony Montgomery, our missing 7-year-old, the little girl in New Hampshire. We have her step monster. She's not her mother, she's a step monster. That's the estranged wife of Adam Montgomery. She's now charged with new firearms theft charges, the same kind of charges that Adam Montgomery is being held on. So we got a lot to talk about in a very small amount of time. Ed, how did I do with that?
Very good. Very good. Nice recap.
I'm just jumping right back in, and there's just so much to talk about. So I know you have limited time. I want to start with you, Ed, because this is your specialty. The New York City subway shooter, Frank R. James. We now know he had a social media platform, Facebook and YouTube. He had a YouTube channel where he uploaded hundreds of videos, ranting and raving racist comments and violent tendencies. He was not shy to say that he hated white people, he hated Hispanic, he hated his own. He made disparaging remarks about black women. This guy was full of hate. He talked about the Jews. He talked about
it was vile. Vile.
Yeah.
Okay.
Ed, what was your take on this guy?
Well, again, he appears to be a he definitely appears to be emotionally disturbed, but he also appears to be full of hate. So I believe this could be, they're charging him with terrorist crimes, federal terrorism crimes, because it's a transportation system. And based on his postings and what he believed, it could be a hate crime as well. He's definitely a domestic terrorist, in my opinion. The vile stuff he put out there, you're right.
Whoops, what did I do? I just removed you by mistake. Sorry about that.
Okay, but on his postings, on his rantings, he attacked whites, Asians, Jews, blacks that married whites. He just ran the gambit, and he was always talking about killing people.
He talked about thinning the herd. He said the way to get around all this crime in New York, he went after Governor Hochul, he went after Eric Adams, he went after the MTA chairman. Nobody was, everybody was fair game for this guy. But my point is, we're not going to do a deep dive until Saturday on this. But my point is on Frank James. There was clear and evident markers about his disturbing behavior, right? It was out there for the taking for anybody to see. When you and I go live here on YouTube, and any of us, if we make posts on Instagram, Facebook, Twitter that are politically charged or that are voicing our opinions, not that I do it, but I mean, I've seen friends of mine talking about presidential, talking about political affiliations, talking about policies. And I've seen Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, all of the social, they squash it. They get rid of it. Listen.
Oh, and they put you in social media prison.
Yeah,
they take.
How many people in this chat have been on a timeout on Facebook or any of the social media platforms? I can say me, and they time me out and put me on a small little get in your corner because I'm sharing too many videos. You got a guy who's ranting all day, every day about killing people, about the Jews, about Hispanics, about whites, hate, and he's allowed to just sit there and go undetected. So now my thing is what I propose is, why not social media? And this can't be the police job, but why doesn't social media now get on board with this and say, hey, we can help by notifying police when there's disturbing messages through their algorithms, and they watch everything that everybody does. If you say something wrong that they don't like, they're able to get that and stop it. Why can't they put a system in place when a guy like this, Frank R. James, starts ranting about killing people? Why can't there be a system in place by these? Why aren't they mandated by the federal government to be able to make those notifications? They could sure silence you and me, Ed. Why can't they silence these murderers?
I mean, we have First Amendment rights here in the United States, and I really don't want that material taken down, but I do want to be notified as law enforcement. And when you say law enforcement shouldn't be policing the internet, well, that's not entirely correct. I mean, we have intelligence units in all law enforcement. We have fusion centers. We have the Joint Terrorist Task Force. We have the FBI is responsible for intel associated with the continental U.S. and our residents.
Right. I was talking about arguments about people like with drama and stuff like that. But when it comes to this stuff, they should be federally mandated to notify us and notify the good guys that, hey, there's a problem here, because they can notify themselves when somebody like me or you or anybody for that matter says something that they don't like. Why can't they put a thing in place where anytime someone rants about killing somebody, which he did, about hate speeches, which he did, about thinning the herd and getting a gun and exterminating the Jews. Again, this is what he said. I'm not saying this just to repeat it.
No, you're right. You're 100% right. And we tell the public, if you see something, say something. And that's what led to his arrest. It was the public that called and say, I see him. He's here. Come get him. And that's how we got him. Patrol got him, not the detectives, not the FBI. The 911 calls a tip line got calls and said, we see him. He's here.
And he called on himself too.
Right. So we tell people, he called himself, right? Messing with the system. We tell the public, if you see something, say something. Well, it's the same thing on social media. If you see something, say something. If you see something that may or may not be a crime, but is suspicious, then notify law enforcement. And at a minimum, we do what's called a suspicious activity report, and we initiate an investigation.
Right. Yeah. So a lot of things need to be tightened up and changed. With all of the incidents that we see going on, we seem to get complacent. 20 years has gone by with 9/11, with the World Trade Center and the Pentagon and all the attacks that happened that day on our country. We seem to be getting complacent because a man was able to walk into a subway with a bag loaded with a firearm, extra magazines, explosive devices, albeit they were not commercial grade, but they were enough to do damage. Smoke grenades that were thrown in there, distraction tactics. So he put this plan together and was able to walk onto the subway with a hard hat on, with a vest, with a gas mask, undetected. You know, and we talk about street crime and anti-crime, and they took them out of the subway. They defunded the police. You know, there's that hands-off, soft touch approach. Back in the day when you and I were cops, when you know there was different people in place, and even when Mayor Dinkins was in place, we were still able to stop people. The anti-crime units were out there, and we were able to stop suspicious-looking people like this, just merely to say, "Hey, what's up, buddy? What are you doing? You know,
Well,
everything all right?"
we still have that right today, but it's frowned on. It's called common law right of inquiry. Any police officer can go up to any citizen and ask them a question. Now, the citizen doesn't have to answer us, okay? Because you know there are steps that we have to take. So after common law right of inquiry, there's mere suspicion, then there's reasonable suspicion. Now, reasonable suspicion now gives us the ability to stop, question, and frisk somebody. And then there's probable cause, and probable cause gives us the ability to arrest somebody. Okay. So I mean, we still have these things, but you know, the defund the police movement, the anti-police movement, the anti-police legislation, the revolving door bail system and justice system. It's no longer criminal justice; it's social justice. We're not focused on the right issues, okay? And these social justice issues are hurting us, not helping us. It's creating more crime. It's empowering the criminal, okay? This hands-off policing policies are not working.
Yeah. So Melissa Hollins asks a good question. She says, DutyRon, were there any police officers in the subway at that time? I guarantee you there were police officers, but again, they can't be everywhere. We have omnipresence. We have police, you know, a lot of these platforms, a lot of the locations, but there's just not enough police to have a cop on every single subway train, you know, in every single location. This was a well planned out attack that he perpetrated. He thought about it. He drove from Philadelphia, drove that van. Listen, we're not doing a deep dive here, but what I want to say is that, you know, there has to be some type of change going forward to prevent this. There needs to be things put in place to stop a copycat or somebody else trying to do this. Because if this was a real terrorist attack, if there were real terrorists, think of the damage they could have did in this subway. And don't you think for 1 second that they are not watching this? Terrorists, the people who want to hurt us, the people who want to harm America and harm other people across the world, they're looking at this and they're seeing this and they're saying to themselves, hey, that was pretty easy to pull off. So I would say, Ed, and am I far off with this thinking?
Well, no, I mean, ideally, that's where we want to be. We want to be able to stop the next one of these, but in reality, it's just not going to happen. Listen, we have to be lucky 100% of the time. They only have to be lucky once.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
And unless you're gonna, you know, put a lot of money into law enforcement and policing, and allow us to hire thousands upon thousands of police officers, we're not going to be able to be everywhere we're needed at the time we're needed. Okay.
And our police have to be able to use their discretion to stop and question people. You know, this stop, question, and frisk, this thing of them saying that it's unconstitutional and it can't happen. These are the differences that make sometimes these crimes able to be perpetrated and potentially stopped. I'm not saying that would have completely stopped this guy, but, you know, our police now are afraid to start stopping and questioning people because they know that they're not backed up by the mayor and the powers that be. And that's a big problem. But, you know, we're getting into another area here. I just want to say that, you know, again, I think, you know, the public, you know, if you see something, say something, I applaud them. I clap to every single person who called into that tip line that saw him that day. I'm glad that he called in on himself. But I'm so happy that New York City Police, the greatest police department arguably in the world, and our greatest detectives have worked so hard on getting this guy in custody within 34 or 35 hours, give or take a little bit. That's a tremendous job. I was elated. I was so happy. I was so proud to be one of the finest, one of the New York City retired New York City police detective. It made me proud. So kudos to our men and women in the NYPD for doing a great job.
It's, you know, and you know, saying that we're the greatest law enforcement agency in the world, it's not hyperbole. All right, because I travel all over the world and I train law enforcement all over the world and all over the United States. And I know what's out there. I know how we have a lot of respect all over the world for our agency and what we're doing, what we're capable of. Nobody can match our experiences, the amount of work we do, how we do what we do. Yes, our resources, absolutely. We have so many specialty units, and we are the most restrained police department in the world in terms of use of force. Okay, many people don't know that, but that's in fact the case. Okay,
oversight as well.
Hey, I'm happy to be here. I'm happy to be here with our family, but I got to get back in and take care of some business.
Ed, I know you're teaching, and I want to say thank you for coming in for this important part of this live stream. I got about 3 other things to cover. Thank you, Ed. We'll see you on Saturday. We're going to do a deep dive into this, and we're going to talk about, we're going to get into the meat and potatoes of this case. Thank you, Ed. We'll see you next time.
Take care of yourself, Ron. Take care of yourself, folks. Stay safe.
All right. Take care, Ed. All right. There he goes. Ed Wallace, our unbelievable, great friend, New York City retired first grade detective. That is the highest ranking detective on the New York City Police Department. He worked in the crime scene unit. Unbelievable what Ed has done. Let's move on to our next topic. We're going to talk about Cassie Carli. Okay, we had Ray Ann, her sister, Ray. She was on Monday night. By a show of hands, who was here on Monday evening to see Ray, Cassie Carli's sister, join us? We had a conversation with her. We talked a little bit about Marcus Manovello, that scumbag. And I have a bit of news for you. He did waive his extradition finally. His attorney got to him. Hello, Trucker Steve. Good to see you. Thank you for joining. Matty Boy Sully's here. So he did finally realize that it was stupid and silly for him to fight extradition when you know that he's going to be brought back. His attorney told him it's the inevitable. You will not win. So Marcus Manovello is in the process right now. They're taking care of a couple of some of his legal issues in other states, some of his charges that he has in the outlining areas. They're going to take care of that. It's just a matter of a formality. Marcus Manovello will be very shortly in the state of Florida to face the music on what he did to Cassie Carli. Now, a lot of the autopsy results and a lot of that stuff we'll have to wait for that, because a lot of the tox reports and things of that nature are going out to outsourced labs. So we're waiting to get confirmation of that. I have good news. Barbara Butcher, the retired chief of staff from the New York City Medical Examiner's Office, she has agreed to come on and explain why and how the toxicological and all of the forensic evidence that gets jobbed out, why does it take so long to get it back? Barbara Butcher is going to come on and talk to us about the Cassie Carli autopsy and why it's taking so long for us to find out. And who better to talk about this than a retired New York City medical examiner's chief of staff? She worked with us, the NYPD. She worked alongside of Ed Wallace. She was Ed Wallace's boss. So Barbara has agreed to come on and explain to us in no uncertain terms the process and why and how. Why does it take so long? How come it takes so long? And what they do. So we're going to talk about it, and we're going to also explore some of the possibilities of why, let's just say, for argument's sake, if Cassie Carli was strangled to death or beaten to death or shot to death, we would have the results of that autopsy back already. And I'm going to let Barbara, I'm going to yield to Barbara Butcher on that one. But guess what? She's going to let us know that, A, if that was the case, we would know something by now. And B, what possibly could have happened to her that it's taking so long. I will give you a little hint. When we covered Christine Engelhardt, that was the young spring breaker, 25 years old, just last March of 2020. She went down to Miami for spring break and was drugged with a lethal dose of fentanyl. She was killed, and it took over 3 months to get the results back from her autopsy. For those of you who are here a long time and remember me, let me know let me know if you remember Barbara Butcher coming on and talking about Christine Engelhardt. Please let me know. Let's see, by a show of hands. Yeah, it was over 3 months, Alicia. It was over 3 months. Who watched that live stream that I did with Barbara Butcher? And actually, that live on Christine Engelhardt was the very first live that Ed Wallace joined me as a special guest. So I'm going to link that down below in the description right here. So I'm going to link that down below in the description so you guys can all see that video and watch that video. It'll be very enlightening for you. I think we're going to see something similar in the Cassie Carli case. Something along those lines could be potentially what's brewing. I had a phone conversation today with Ray, her sister. When I had the phone conversation with Ray, and today we got caught up on a couple of things, and she is really so appreciative of all of the love that you guys have sent out her way. And she says, thank you, thank you, thank you. That's coming from Rayanne, Cassie Carli's sister. And she says, thank you. Thank you so much. She is overwhelmed at how much beauty and kindness and love you guys have showed her. And I, too, am not surprised by that, because the amount of love that you showed me during the course of this surgery that I'm gone through here recently, you guys are just unbelievable. You're amazing. So thank you. Thank you. Moving right along to Lori Shallow Vallow. Lori Daybell Shallow Vallow is deemed competent to stand trial. I reported that to you guys earlier in the week. She is now going to be, and she's in prison. She's in jail now. She's not in prison. She's in jail awaiting trial. Unfortunately, I want to say this. Unfortunately, we are going to have to wait until 2023 to see the fireworks and see the show. The show is basically going to be put off until 2023. So it's going to be a long wait to see these two scumbags, these two evil, sick monsters, these devils, whatever you want to call Chad Daybell, Chad Dumbbell, Lori Shallow Vallow Dumbbell. It's going to take a while for us to see these jagaloons brought into court. But I'm sure we'll hear stuff from their both respective attorneys, and we'll have some hearings and have some nonsense that will go on. But that is, as far as the Shallow Vallow case, that is my coverage of that for this week. I want to move along to Kayla Montgomery. So Kayla Montgomery is the step monster who is, we know, is in jail awaiting a trial along with Adam Montgomery. She was in on the fraud welfare charges, applying for the $1,500 plus food stamp money for Harmony Montgomery. What a piece of garbage. By a show of hands, who thinks Kayla Montgomery is a special kind of human garbage by applying knowingly and willingly for benefits for a girl who is no longer with us or no longer in their house, in their residence? And mark my words, she knows what happened to her. She knows what happened to her. But by a show of hands, who feels that that's a special kind of evil woman? Like, what woman who has their own children would do that to another little defenseless child? Apply on the back for food stamps. And she probably used that food stamp money to feed her own children. Don't forget, her and Adam have children of their own. I think 3. I think there's 3 of their own kids. They probably use that money. And that's what makes this so extremely vile, is that they were taking that money for Harmony and using it for her own children. Disgusting. So, Rianne Evans says sick is the word for her. Yeah, let's highlight that one. That's a good one. Gerda Coates, good to see you, my friend. I hope I'm saying your name right. I think I am. Gerda is from South Africa. Great to see you, my friend. I'm trying to find you. Where did you go, Gerda? Love and respect from DutyRon. Thank you for joining. I'll look for you again. Um, so there we have it. Kayla Montgomery, she is now being charged, and this is great because law enforcement is on top of this. She's now being charged with um, a felon, I believe, a felony charge for a stolen rifle. The same kind of charge that Adam is in jail for. So they're holding these monsters until they can get concrete evidence. Until they can get concrete evidence. That's a good one. Gutter rat. Thank you, Yvette. She's a gutter rat. They're holding both of these guys, uh, Adam Montgomery and Kayla, until they can get enough evidence or find Harmony, poor little Harmony Montgomery, and put the charges against them. So they are doing the best that they can to hold these two, and that is developing. I think it was 2 days ago. I'm losing track of days because of the surgery, but Kayla Montgomery charged with um, uh, theft of a long rifle, same kind of similar charges to Adam, not exactly, but similar. I think it was 2 counts. He has 3 counts. So she was involved with him in some kind of criminal activity. I'm not sure. I don't have the particulars. It doesn't even matter. I'm just happy that she is now not going to be getting out, and they're both held until further notice. Moving along to our next topic. This was a long week of crime. A lot of things happened. During the process of me going under the knife on Tuesday, this week has been action packed, and I'm no way covering everything that happened this week. But we also had Gabby Petito's mom, Nicole Schmidt, and Joe Petito, her father, her biological mom, the biological dad. They have this lawsuit against the Laundry family. And there was a lot of wild conversation and speculation that they don't have grounds to stand on for their lawsuit against the dirty laundries. But I feel, and I still tell you, that I stand with good. I don't stand with evil. I don't root on evil people. And the Laundry family are evil. They've proved to us in no uncertain terms how evil they are by remaining silent and never making any kind of blurb or conversation to the Petito and Schmidt family, not even a peep from those people. So they have earned the Scumbag of the Year award in my book. What father and mother who housed Gabby Petito or housed any young girl, your son's girlfriend, in your home would shut their mouths and not try to help the Petito and Schmidt family, or at least console them and give them some kind of support? Like, hey, I don't know what's going on, but I love Gabby and I care about where she is. They did not do that. Therefore, that classifies them as not only jagaloons, Michelle G., that classifies them as jagaloonish scumbags. Now, that's one of my favorite words, if you haven't noticed that. But here we are. I choose not to root for scumbags. I choose to root for the good. And I went to the Gabby Petito Foundation golf outing, and I saw both sets of parents, including Joe and Tara Petito, Jim and Nicole Schmidt, and I looked at these people and I cried, and I cried inside. I cried inside. My heart broke for them when I saw them, because I know that they were there at that golf outing and and that fundraiser, thinking of their own daughter. It broke my heart. I was there to celebrate and to support them, but I knew in the back of my mind, and it never left my mind, that their poor daughter was done dirty by the dirty laundries. Gabby was done dirty by the laundry parents, by Brian, murdered by Brian, and all of the above. So I choose to stand with the Petito and Schmidt family. And you know what? To each their own. To each their own. But they have the decision has been made in court that in 2023, again, we're going to have to wait a little while for this, but in 2023, the Schmidt and Petito family, that is Nicole Schmidt, Gabby's mom, and Joe Petito, those are the two named in the suit, in the civil suit against those dirty scumbag laundries. Their case is going to be heard in the court, in their circuit court, but it won't be till 2023. So that was breaking news as of yesterday. And I am always following and always watching anything that has to do with Gabby, because I stand with the family. I stand for the good. And that's what this is all about. Crime Time with DutyRon. We're not about re-victimizing a family who has already been through a horrific incident. The loss of a child. We are not supposed to lose our child and bury our children. They're supposed to bury us. And that's how it's supposed to go. Now, I know life is not always fair and just, but that is what happened to them, and that is what happened with the Arion family, with with all of these cases. You know, I could just go down the list. Look at poor Summer Wells. We don't even know what happened to her. The boys in California, Naomi in Nevada. You got Cassie Carli. We could just keep going on. The names, I could read names for an hour here of all of the people and the victims. And there's so many faceless, nameless ones that we never get to hear about. It's just mind-boggling. It's earth-shattering. It's heartbreaking. It's all of the above. So that's the wrap up from my week. I hope that you guys enjoyed this. You know, I tried to put it out with as much energy and strength as I could for you guys. I hope you understand where I'm coming from. I want to say thank you to anybody who has given Super Chat anytime in the past, anytime in the future. And those of you who support this channel by giving it a thumbs up, consider giving this video and all of our videos that Ed and I do a thumbs up, liking it, leaving a comment, sharing it onto your social media. No matter how big or small your social media is, consider sharing these videos. Get the message out there. Let's help the good people like myself and like yourselves. Let's help each other by spreading the word of goodness, and that, you know, we're not going to let evil bring us down. We're not going to let evil knock us down. Pat's Cats, thank you so much for that super sticker, super chat. It sends a lot of prayers and says to Ron. Thank you so much for that. We greatly appreciate it. Melissa, thank you for the super sticker. Melissa Hollins, thank you so much. I added some extra vowels onto the name. Excellent to have you. 2023 is going to be a big year, full of cases for sick dirtbags. Absolutely. You know, we also have Barry Morphew, you know, in the Suzanne Morphew case. You know, we have that coming, you know. So again, I am back to the office. I came in for a half a day here. So I'm back into the office for today because I just couldn't stay home. You know, you can't keep a good man down. And there's only so much relaxing I could do. You know, I have this big bandage on my head. There's actually 2 sets of gauze protecting the 12 stitches that I have. I don't know if you guys could see it, but I really bandaged it up really good this morning, and I'm wearing this hat over it so I don't get any, you know, any kind of, you know, danger inside the warehouse where I work. So I think I'm safe. I think I'm good. You know, I have my own private office. I actually have a few of them throughout the building. Thank you, Rocky, for being here. Rocky Pastorino, as we know, searched for Naomi Arion in Fernley, Nevada. He says, DutyRon and family, I'll be officially a search and rescue SAR by 2023. Congratulations on that, Rocky. That is awesome, man. Good for you, brother. That is great news. All right, guys. So that is the weekly wrap up. I think I covered everything that I had in the title there. Let me just make sure. Kayla Montgomery, Cassie Carli, Gabby Petito, and the New York City subway shooting. I think that was the week in review. I hope you guys enjoyed it. Let me know by a show of hands in the chat if you enjoyed this live stream by putting a 1 in the chat. If you thought that maybe I missed some things or maybe that I suck, put a number 2 in the chat. I can take it. I was a New York City cop for 20 years and a detective. I got a thick skin. I can handle it. constructive criticism, I can always handle it. So let me know in the chat by putting a 1, and then you know what a number 2 is. Number 2, oofa. Don't be shy. And moderators, don't block if someone puts a number 2, because I want to hear about it. All right, guys, love and respect. Jen Lowe says, she spells it out. I'm going to put that one back to Jen Lowe. I love her. She's awesome. She's a great friend and a mod. She says, uno, no dos. Thank you, Laura. Thank you. Awesome. You guys are awesome sauce. Listen, again, I stand for the good and I stand against evil, and in all of these cases, the general consensus is, thank you, Alicia. The general consensus is we are talking about evil, right? And when we are talking about evil, there's not even this much of sorrow for these folks who commit these crimes and that are stand accused. People ask me about Summer Wells all the time, and why don't you talk more about Summer Wells? Well, once there is new information and the case progresses, I will gladly speak about it. But I will not just light up a live stream to jump on the bandwagon of the jagaloonism and child's play that's going on and all these clowns that are talking about Summer Wells and making a mockery of it. I will not ever do that. So if there is something that needs to be spoken about, I will do it with respect, and I'll do it with respect and dignity for Summer Wells and her recovery. If it has something to do with enhancing the search for Summer Wells, you can bet your bottom dollar I'll be talking about it. And that brings me up to the next point, is that I will have Dave Rader on with me in the near future to talk about some cases. So we are going to be speaking with Dave Rader soon about some new cases and some developments, and we are going to have him on. So look for that soon. Guys, I'm happy to be back. I'm glad you are all here. Thank you to everyone who's joined. Remember, please give it a thumbs up, like the video, share it out, subscribe, follow me on Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter, all one word, DutyRon. Make sure you hit the subscribe button. That's really important. There it is. Please subscribe to DutyRon here on YouTube. Go over to DutyRon.com where you can check out all things DutyRon. I always like to put this up every once in a while, the National Domestic Violence Hotline. Thank you for everybody and anybody who reaches out for things of that nature. I will see you guys on the next one. Remember, I'm sporting my Warrant Squad shirt, the NYPD Warrant Squad. I'm sporting the Warrant Squad shirt because I am really, really so proud of the NYPD and the job that they did in putting this suspect into custody, this perpetrator who perpetrated a heinous crime in the subway system in New York. So kudos to the NYPD and all the men and women in blue across the country. Love and respect from my house to yours. God bless the world. God bless the United States of America. And God bless each and every one of us here in the chat, but especially all victims of crime and their family. They need us now more than ever, and let's stand behind them. All of these people that we speak about, let's support them any way that you can. And thank you to the people who left super chats, who leave kind messages and support this great community. We love and respect you all. Thank you, Mary. Thank you, Ashley. Thank you, KDF. It's always great to see you. Heather, whatever, I really love you and appreciate you coming in. Jen Lowe, Tracy, Laura, Carol, Hartung, thank you. Amen. Mary Flynn, always appreciated. Matty Boy Sully, Gerda, thank you everybody for being a channel member, hanging out. Miss Kelly is here. I love you guys. I love the replay viewers. You guys are what makes this a great place. Thank you, thank you, thank you. See you on the next one. Peace from DutyRon. Talk to you soon, guys.